10:42. Good morning. Welcome back to the stream. Glad you're here with us. It has been 15 years since the miracle on the Hudson when Captain Chelsea Sullenberger, better known as Sully, landed a plane on the Hudson River. We will never, ever forget that moment. We wanted to take this opportunity 15 years later to bring in friend of the stream, Peter Greenberg. Peter, thanks so much for joining us. Glad you're here with us.
Well, I'm glad I'm here with you, too. I was there 15 years ago.
Really?
On a day much colder than what you're going through in Chicago on the Hudson when that plane came in.
Well, besides this being a crazy story, how was its impact just on travel and air travel in specific?
Well, it reaffirmed what pilots can do if they're properly trained. When in doubt, fly the plane. And he made split-second decisions that he had to make in split seconds because had those birds hit him maybe 20 seconds earlier in his flight path, he never would have been able to clear the George Washington Bridge. And if it had happened an hour later, the river had iced up. He happened to clear the bridge. It was the only place he could put it in the water, which was the Hudson River. And because he had full tanks of gas, the plane was able to float. There were no boats in the river at that point. They were all back at their docks. And here's the most miraculous thing to me in terms of how long it took to get all those people to safety. They were all out there on the wing. Some of them were actually in the water, as you can see. The entire rescue operation from the time that plane hit the river to the time everybody came ashore was only 24 minutes.
Wow.
That's a miracle.
Wow. And, you know, as you say that, that is the miraculous part. We see them all on the wing. We see them in the water. That is amazing. I'm glad we can just take a moment to remember that 15 years later. As we now look at an Alaska Airlines debacle, you know, what will we be saying about this, do you think, 15 years from now? Or what can we learn from it?
Well, hopefully we won't have to wait 15 years for this one. In fact, I talked to Captain Sullenberger about this incident just a couple of days ago. And the bottom line here is a culture of safety that may not be existing between Boeing and the actual manufacturers and between Boeing and the airplane operators. Because for decades, Boeing has been allowed to use, as other manufacturers did as well, something called FAA designated inspectors to first certify their planes were airworthy in the first place, and then to basically inspect the production line as these planes were being assembled. Who were those FAA designated inspectors? They weren't paid by the FAA. They were on the payroll of Boeing. If that doesn't scream conflict of interest, nothing does. I can't inspect my own car and tell you it's safe. I have to get it inspected every year by an independent government agency. That's the FAA's job. So as the Boeing CEO is now calling for increased frequency of inspections, the one core issue that hasn't been addressed is who's going to do the inspection. You need a better allocation of funds from Congress to basically give the FAA the funds and the staff and the resources it needs to hire those independent inspectors to make sure this doesn't happen again.
All right, that was actually going to be my question, so I'm so glad you asked that. What is the biggest lingering thing? It looks like that is it. Who is doing those inspections? An outside agency, we always hope. All right, the world's largest cruise ship, we're moving on here, docked in Miami right now ahead of its maiden voyage. So with all the in-flight drama these last several weeks, people may be feeling like they're out of the pandemic, it's over. Is it time for people to give cruises another go?
Oh, they've already done it. Cruises are operating very full. There are more cruise ships coming online now than in the last 5 years. The Icon of the Seas, that's the one you're talking about. That's the new Royal Caribbean ship. More than 8,000 passengers. When you add the number of crew, you're well over 11,000. It is the largest cruise ship on the water. Now, with numbers like that, that can be a little daunting, but to give credit to RCCL, they did the right efficiency studies, time and motion studies, engineering studies to be able to make sure that no matter where you are on that ship, you're not feeling crowded. My fear was that by the time the ship docked and the time you got off the ship, you'd have to get on the ship again. They figured out passenger flow, passenger experience, and I can't wait to check it out. Even though I'm a fan of much smaller ships, you have to look at this one and say, what did they do to make this work? So I'll let you know about it when I get back.
I know, it's so amazing. I've been watching videos. My dad's a big cruiser, lives down in Florida. He was just on another big ship. He said he did not feel like it was too crowded. So same as what you're hearing from people who are cruising on these big things. Peter Greenberg, CBS travel editor, thanks for your time. Thanks for being with us.
You got it.